A very compelling day in court, day 4 of the Oscar Pistorius trial. Let's start with the morning. Charles Johnson was back on the stand. He is a neighbor to Oscar Pistorius, and his wife Michelle Berger has already testified in court. He continued to be cross-examined by Advocate Barry Roux. Advocate Roux was trying to chip away at his testimony, trying to assert firstly that he had corroborated his testimony with his wife and that their versions were remarkably similar, and at one point going so far as to suggest that he actually wanted to simply implicate Oscar Pistorius, that he had redesigned his testimony in such a way to suit that particular purpose. Johnson was very strong on the stand, though. He dug in his heels. He refused to accept that, stating over and again that he heard these screams and that he believed that they were gunshots. Further, he took notes a couple of weeks after the shooting of Reeva Steenkamp, and those notes were then handed to the defense so that they could go through them. Now to the second part of today, that is Johan Stipp. Very compelling, dramatic testimony from him. He is a military doctor and a neighbor to Pistorius, the neighbor who lives the closest, in fact, and he testified that he was woken in the early hours of Valentine's morning last year to loud bangs. He went to the balcony to hear what was going on, and he heard a woman screaming. He then went back to his wife, woke her up, and called security. During that time, there were more loud bangs, and he told his wife to take cover. He then ran next door to the house. He didn't know it was Pistorius' house at the time. He'd never met his neighbor.
As I approached the lady, there was a man on his knees on the left side. He had his left hand on the right groin and his right hand's second and third fingers in her mouth. And I remember the first thing he said when I got there was that he said, "I shot her. I thought she was a burglar and I shot her." On the top of her skull, that's where I saw the brain tissue and the blood.
Yes, and then what happened?
Well, during that time, while I was trying to ascertain if she is revivable, Oscar was crying all the time. He prayed to God to please let her live. She must not die. He said at one stage while he was praying that he will dedicate his life and her life to God if she would just only live and not die that night. When I saw that, I couldn't do anything for her because I thought when I arrived there, maybe if you can just hold down a wound or stop bleeding, that could help. But she was way too seriously injured for that.
Throughout this particular part of the testimony, Oscar Pistorius put his head in his hands. He blocked his ears as if he didn't want to hear what was being said, and at one point wiped away tears. Today, actually, I should point out, is the anniversary of the death of Oscar Pistorius' mother. She died when he was 15 years ago, and one of his friends said to me that it's always a very difficult day for him. So to be remembering that and having to hear about his girlfriend being shot and the kinds of injuries she would have sustained probably proved a little bit too much for him. The rest of the afternoon was spent with Advocate Barry Roux suggesting that what he in fact heard was not gunshots but the cricket bat, and that the person screaming was Oscar, and that they will bring an expert witness to testify that Oscar screams like a girl.